All right, welcome to Boys episode 21.
With Lucas Dunn.
Have some fun. This episode is all about Halloween.
You know, I'm kind of glad that we talked about that because it put me in the Halloween mood.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's all about Halloween, but there's a good amount of Halloween.
There's a good amount of Halloween in there. Every year, the older one gets, the less holidays mean things. You know what I mean? Like the less. The less that spark is there, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And after talking to Lucas on the podcast, it got me in that like, So listening to the podcast that we've been listening to, it made me like, I'm actually excited for Halloween now.
You know what it did? It relit the little candle in my jack-o'-lantern head.
It did.
It really did. And I'm not a Halloweensman.
You're not a Halloweener?
No, I've never really been because I'm a big wiener.
Mm-hmm.
And not the Halloweener variety, just a wiener in general. Not a big fan of horror movies, not a big fan of haunted houses, being scared. Anything that most people like, I don't like. But you know what? His display of wonderment and just downright gratitude for the season, for the fall season, the Halloween season.
Right.
It made me kind of excited for this year. And yeah, there's a lot going on in this episode, and I wish we had more time because I felt like we just scratched the surface.
We really did.
Great dude, funny, good on the mic, has a lot of things going on, so we get to all of that. But yeah, trying to keep these a little shorter and sweeter since we're coming out every week. Speaking of, this one just barely got out there. If you're listening to this on Friday, we are recording this intro the night before.
Well, yeah, literally the night before it comes out.
Usually we do it days before or a week before. I've been sick this last week. I had a upper respiratory infection, had to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And yeah, boy, howdy, do I feel like crap.
'Tis the season though, right? Isn't this like the season where people start getting sick?
Right before Halloween.
I say that like I'm some sort of like android. Like, isn't that the time that your people?
Yeah, you wimpy humans. No, and that's another reason I hate Halloween is I always feel like I get sick right around Halloween,
and it ruins the festivities.
It really does. It puts a real damper on your tricks and treats and whatnot. So I have to ask you, man, you got a new car.
I got a new whip.
How is that? How's that working out?
I really enjoy it. It's one of those things where I haven't had a new car since I was like probably 19. So it's like, not only is it a new car, it's a nicer car.
Yeah.
And I find myself looking at the mileage, even though it's got low mileage on it. Like every time it creeps up, like, no, just stay, just hover.
Well, heed my advice, my friend. Take your old car everywhere.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Just, drive that back and forth to work. Save your new one.
We're not even doing, Diana, my wife, works a mile down the street from where we work. So we're just going to carpool every day, use this one for like date nights, going out of town, long distance driving, that sort of thing.
The things that really matter.
Things that matter.
Well, it's funny. I followed you home from work as I do every day, usually while I'm jerking. But today was different. So I pulled up right behind you at the stoplight right by your house. And I was reminded of a thing that happened when I was just driving, just got my license. A friend of mine had just got his license, and we'll call him Nin Nin. That was kind of a nickname his mother gave him, embarrassingly enough. And he did this thing more than once when I was in the car with him, and I came to kind of coin it the bumper game. Mm-hmm. And what he would do is, if let's say a friend was in front of me and Nin Nin in his car, I was riding shotgun, he would pull up behind them, like if we were leaving school, or in the line at lunch, there's some congestion around the high school. He would pull up behind them, get about a foot from them, and then gently roll his car into the back of the person in front of him and just kind of give them a little nudge, not enough to move them or hurt the vehicle, but just a little kiss,
little bumper to bumper kiss.
Kind of like if you're like trying to get by somebody and you bump them with your ass or something. It was just a nice little, kiss. Yeah. And I thought about giving you the bumper game. No. But then I realized I was an adult and those childish things are long gone out of my brain.
Don't bump my new whip.
I was like, what am I thinking?
Am I really
gonna put my car into your car?
Even though they're both white. So that would be like, with their paint.
Wouldn't even hurt. What else is new, man?
We got that trip coming up. this weekend,
Yes,
going
we
to
do.
Lawrence. I'm looking forward to that. That should be a good time.
It's been it has been and will be a couple weeks of kind of some 2000s nostalgia for us.
Yeah, we went to that Get Up Kid show last weekend. And then, then we got this weekend with the anniversary. Oddly enough, 2 bands that we listened to pretty much simultaneously.
Yeah. And from the same area, right? They're both from Lawrence,
Kansas.
I believe.
Yeah.
It's funny. The Get Up Kid show at the 89th Street Collective was really cool. Like, we bought tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And then I immediately had this like anxiety that came with it because, I know this show and a lot of things I'm into really revolve around nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when it comes to other people having nostalgia, I just get kind of like angry, I guess is the right
it's my
word.
nostalgia.
It's my nostalgia. I liked that band. Don't fucking pump your fist.
Yeah.
Don't you fucking sing along. I didn't see you when they had their first reunion show. Yeah. You didn't drive to Lawrence to see him. You didn't see him back in the day when there was no one there. Put that fist down. Stop drinking that beer. Stop having fun. Go home.
You bought something to write home about in 2003, motherfucker.
Exactly. Yeah. You saw the video. I did too. Anyways.
Yeah.
The show came. It was awesome. There were so many people there I hadn't seen in a long time. Got some out-of-towners there. Aaron Pando, shout out, coming up on the show.
Shout out to Mikey P.
Mikey P. Awesome to see him. Saw Corey, saw Anissa, saw a bunch of people I hadn't seen in a long, long time. People I'm forgetting because I'm kind of hopped up on cold medicine right now. But it was awesome. Funny thing is though, having seen them, on their original reunion tour, it didn't hold that freshness that the first time I saw them did, because before that it had been like 12 years
since they've even played together.
Yeah. But then again, that was like 6 years ago or so, or maybe even
9,
more.
Yeah, it was like
9 years?
Yeah.
6, 9, 7, who gives a shit? It was a long time ago. So, you'd think that would have worn off a bit, but it didn't really pack the punch as when we saw them in Lawrence.
Yeah.
Not to sound like cool, I'm trying to be cool or anything.
No, I mean, that initial reunion show was something for me because I never got to see them before that. I mean, they never really came. Did they ever come here? Or you guys saw them in Tulsa?
In Tulsa, yeah. Tulsa.
I did not get to go to that show.
I almost said Lawrence, like I'm just this jet setter.
So I never got to see them, but I was a huge fan, and then getting to see them there, and not only that, it was well hyped. There was a shit ton of people there. There was a film crew filming the whole damn thing, and there was a dude dancing on a speaker like a drunk crazy person.
Very like erotically.
Yeah,
it was weird. It kind of reminded me of Halloween.
He did. He looked like a Misfits. He was probably definitely a Misfits fan. I'm sure he had the skull tattooed somewhere on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that. So in the same vein, I'm looking forward to this anniversary show because they never played here.
They did.
They
saw
played
them
here.
They opened for Modest Mouse at the Diamond Ballroom.
But see, that was after Her Majesty.
Yeah,
right?
it was, because they started out as this kind of like, I wouldn't say emo band, but like, what do you call those bands?
Synth pop punk?
Synth pop.
Punk?
No, I wouldn't call them a punk band. I don't know. Yeah, like a
synth-mo.
A 90s synth. You got the cute girl on the synthesizer.
Right.
Got a couple of guys playing like offset guitars. Yeah, that was their first album, Designing a Nervous Breakdown. And then, Her Majesty was, or Your Majesty.
Your Majesty. I don't know. I thought it was Her Majesty.
Whatever. That was their second album. And it was a little more like hippie.
Yeah,
and when I saw
more
them,
like on the Beatles side, yeah.
Yeah, and when I saw them, they were all wearing like those, I don't know how to explain it other than like the Jiffy Pop, like Rob Zombie hats.
Like pimp hats, kind of.
Yeah, like it kind of looked like a Halloween pimp hat.
Yeah.
Maybe it was around Halloween. Maybe they were all dressed as pimps.
Dude, I remember that Sweet Marie video, they were all dressed that way too. So maybe they were going through this whole like, let's just dress like 70s pimps.
Kind of like Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah. Very, are you going to go my way?
Scarves, like tight-fitting, perhaps bell bottoms?
More than likely bell bottoms.
But really looking forward to the trip. And we're going to be sitting down with our buddy Aaron Pando for that
Pando
one.
Will be on the next podcast. So next time you're listening, you'll be hearing his lovely voice.
And it's cool because it's our second remote out-of-town podcast.
Yeah.
Great things are happening.
I'm excited to see how that's going to turn out. I mean, the first one went well.
Yeah.
We were nervous about that one.
Yeah.
Sound ended up sounding great.
Yeah.
With Pando, who knows where it's going to go?
Oh, it'll be fun.
It's going to be gonna touch a lot of bases.
Well, I'm going to get right to the episode here
Definitely.
with my buddy Josh. But before that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening. It really means the world to us when I check like SoundCloud and we see that people are listening to this, enjoying it, giving us feedback via email.
Sure.
boyspodcast@aol.com. We got our Facebook page, Twitter, all that shit. Just Google us, Google Boys, turn your safe search on.
Google
will pop up.
Google Boys Podcast.
Right.
Because Google Boys, you're just going to get, I'm assuming like JCPenney photographs of like the studio or something.
Google Naked Boys. There's a picture of Josh and I with our ding dongs out. And
there is. There's probably out there somewhere.
Ooh, I don't think I have a naked photo on the internet.
We talked about this on a podcast?
I think we did.
We did.
Was it this one?
It may have been.
We'll find out soon enough.
We'll find out. Lucas Dunn, guys.
Had to have a sip of my delicious Ouroboros Stout. Compliments of Anthem Brewing. AnthemBrewing.com.
You snuck it in before I could.
I beat you to it.
You beat me to it.
We're here tonight, episode 21, with our good friend Lucas Dunn.
Howdy.
We're legal.
We're of legal drinking age, so.
Well, it's a good thing that I brought over that bottle of Jägermeister because we're doing 21 shots tonight, baby. Woo!
Just hearing that word.
Jägermeister?
It makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
I had a terrible, terrible experience with Jägermeister right around 21, 21, 22, back in I call those the trying years, when you just try too hard and end up getting sick. Friend of mine bought this. I mean, it looked like a comedy prop, like a Gallagher prop bottle of Jaeger. Probably like a 3-liter. Remember a 3-liter bottle?
Yeah, like a giant.
A Shasta.
Yeah, or a 3-liter, of Dr. Pepper or whatever. So he bought this huge bottle of Jaeger and he's like, we're going to party tonight. And I didn't really drink a ton before I was 21. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I took a few shots of that, waited a while, took a few more shots. He ended up going to bed and I was like going to crash on the couch,
Yeah.
Ended up getting so sick. He lived in a second floor apartment building. I went out on his front steps, the long steps down to the sidewalk there, and just sat there, held my stomach, and then just barfed my fucking brains out. And the barf like cascaded down the stairs. And the next morning it just looked like a fucking chocolate fountain had gone awry. It was terrible. So anytime I think about Jaeger, smell Jaeger,
I can't.
Were you ever present for any of the Jaeger Club moments at the parties back in... I don't think you ever really went to any of the Midwest City parties back in the day.
I knew some people from Midwest City, ran around with quite a few people from Midwest City, but yeah, never went to the Jaeger Club. It sounds like a terrible club to be in.
There was a Jaeger Club?
There was a Jaeger Club. Okay. So our Robbie and I's former bandmate, Aaron Tackett, used to be quite the party animal back in those days too. So I think he was... at least, if not the founder, one of the founding members of Jaeger Club.
A founding father.
The president, CEO. Yeah.
So we would throw just these trasher parties back in the day at, the first just bro house that we lived in. And they would usually devolve at some point into the night where all of the dudes would end up in one room, which is not hard to do at the parties we were throwing because it was mostly dudes anyways. And there'd be this... not quite the 3-liter Jaeger, but still a very large bottle of Jägermeister that Aaron would bring. And it was kind of ran in a parliamentary style where there was there's kind of a sense of order. You could only speak if you were holding the Jägermeister bottle in your hand, and there would be decrees made. And
so it was like really official.
Yeah.
Did you wear like the white powdered wigs and everything?
We were usually in our underwear by this point of the night. So
no pants parties.
What is a too big bottle of Jaeger? I think any bottle that's besides like the ones that the little tiny pocket.
Yeah, the stocking stuffer bottles. Those ones, the ones you see
airplane bottles.
The one at the register. That's even too much Jaeger.
I think with the 750 or the 1 liter or whatever, just the stand, because even the bars don't use the giant bottle.
I think they use like the 750 ml.
That's just like a average size bottle.
Yeah.
I remember going to like the Wolf Trap up in Edmond post my Jaeger event, and seeing when they had the new Have It Chilled with the 2 upside down bottles in the little machine.
Oh yeah, it's all lit up.
Yeah, it's like, it's got like the glowing deer head on it, and it's like, it's got, like Tim and Eric font, like Have It Chilled. And it's like, no thanks. I don't want to like throw up all over the bar. But it's funny, you said, your bro parties, and going back to my experience with Jaeger, those bro parties are such a thing of the past. Things are so different now that we get older, but a lot of times I miss those bro parties.
I can't remember the last time I went to just like fucking raging party. Even, I think that it was at Adam's birthday at your house. It was like the last like party that I went to. It was still just, it was a really great time.
It was a great time, but it's a lot of people
still restrained and
sitting around, like sitting in a huge circle on the back porch and just like 20 conversations going on. But the last raging party that I can remember was Aaron Cox's New Year's Eve party a couple years ago. And we were dancing.
With like the rap dance mix.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was wonderful. And that really threw me back to those like bro party times, even though, the female to male ratio was through the roof compared to those bro parties. But
because everybody's wifed up and
it's like, all right. It's like either I'm bringing my wife or my wife brought me to this. And nobody was in their underwear. But it was the last party I can remember to where like I really just had a blast and like really let my hair down and just I danced and for me dancing is like well,
that's when you're like at a party. You know what I mean? Like when someone or more than one person's going to get blackout or close to blacking out. Someone's gonna maybe spill some beer on the back porch.
There might be a fight.
There could be a fight.
There's the possibility of a fight.
Like I can think back fondly on those rager days. And when we lived in Gatewood, those were the ragingest of rager days. I don't ever want to live that again. But there's a lot of fun times. You went to a few of the Gatewood ragers.
Yeah. And they're fun. And they're definitely good to know that you went through that and that you have that, in your history. But as a mid-30s guy, it's like there's just no appeal to that anymore. But back then we lived for it. Like that was every weekend or every few days we would do something like that.
It's fun about once a year, and there's one particular holiday which is my favorite out of all of the holidays, and that's Halloween, which we're now entering Halloween season.
We're in the throes of Halloween season.
Yeah. If Walgreens can start selling Christmas stuff in, mid-October, as far as I'm concerned, we're in like full stretch Halloween right
September
now.
1st is like, that's Halloween season.
Yeah.
Well, and you, my friend, are, probably one of the biggest advocates of like horror movies. You're just kind of a Halloweener. You've always been that.
Okay, I'll break it down. You get horror movies, which are the best. Like AMC's playing them, just nothing but horror movies for weeks, which is awesome. Costumes, which are fun. And costume parties are more fun than normal parties because when people are dressed up, you're more likely to just drop your inhibitions and not be your stuffy self. You're like, I'm in a costume. I'm crazy. You're having fun. And you whether or not you're imitating the character you're dressed as, I don't know. There's just this kind of wild intensity to them. And then also it's just like the best weather of the year. It's starting to get chilly and
I can throw in a hoodie.
Hoodies.
Finally.
I'm waiting for that.
I'm tired of sweating. I'm tired of the heat.
Yeah.
It sucks. I think there's something about Halloween parties. And even though, I'm older now, married, settled down, so to speak, there's just something slightly erotic about Halloween parties.
And not just like slutty cop costumes. It's
Or blacking out on Jaeger. Like it's besides that.
Yeah.
There's just something slightly, I always feel like I'm kind of like an extra in Eyes Wide Shut at a Halloween party.
Right.
And we used to throw these big Halloween parties for 3 or 4 years straight. And they were humongous.
Yeah.
And, I remember there was one year where I dressed up as like a werewolf. I was like this cool werewolf dude. I don't know, kind of like I look like a werewolf / 70s roadie.
I remember that.
Is it like the classic? So you get the werewolf mask and
no
then
mask.
No mask.
No mask. I had long hair.
Natural facial hair.
Yeah, I grew out my facial hair in kind of a old school Wolverine fashion. Fake teeth. And then I had like this leather vest on, sleeveless shirt, ripped up jeans, boots. I don't even know what made me a werewolf. I guess just the facial hair. But I was on the prowl that night. Like I was just like
Werewolves
prowling
like
around.
to fuck.
Dude, they do.
they do.
They got those red dicks.
If Bram Stoker's Dracula touch anything, they really do.
Even last year, just seeing people, on Instagram and dressed up, whether they're male, female, whatever. To me, that Halloween has always had this underlying eroticism to it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what it goes back to. My main squeeze, my main Halloween babe, Elvira.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Still up there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mistress of the Dark, is that what it was?
Dude, she's got to be...
Yeah,
how old
Mistress
is-
of the Dark, I
how-
think. She
how
did all
old
those
is she?
Coors ads back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's a new Elvira.
No,
There's a new Elvira?
There's not.
Yeah, there is. They replaced her.
I'm Googling that shit
Google
right
it
now.
because I saw a picture of her actually on Instagram the other day. I guess, 'tis the season. So somebody posted a photo of Elvira. I can't remember her real name, but in her costume and out of her costume. And I was like, man, she is a very attractive older woman at this point. I mean, she was of drinking age when we were children.
Yeah. No, there is totally a replacement Elvira that does like all of the public things now.
No shit.
Yeah, because it was back whenever they were doing the Halloween parade downtown. One of the years it was marshaled by her, but it was like advertised as like the new, because they did like a search for the new Elvira, and it's this chick that looks, she looks like identical basically.
Really?
But yeah, I think
You
I don't
learn
really
something
know
every
what the new Elvira is doing, but
Well, the old Elvira is 64 years old. I'm not seeing anything about a new Elvira.
still hit it.
Oh, man.
Oh, sure. I think that was probably one of my first crushes was Elvira. I remember being a little boy, and she would come on Coors commercials, and there was that Elvira Mistress of the Dark TV. She would host movies.
Like on USA or
yeah,
some
and I remember
some
seeing
network
that as a kid. Like, mostly the boobs.
Dude,
but-
it was all about
Yeah,
the
it was all
titties.
about
Let's
the
be
titties.
honest. The way she dressed, it was provocative and erotic, but not like crazy over the top. Like it wasn't like twerking and butts. Like I'm so sick of butts.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of butts. Speaking of,
Butts are great.
butts are great, but I'm so over it. I'm over butts, man. I think I'm gonna switch back to tits.
It's a whole package deal.
Back to tits. Take it back to tits.
I'm a leg man personally.
Yeah.
Like lower, like from the knee down.
The calf is the best part of the leg, but the whole thing,
All right,
thighs,
all that shit.
all of it. It's back to the Halloween though. I got a really important game to play right now.
Okay.
It's Fuck, Marry, Kill,
Oh, yeah.
Wolfman, Dracula, and the Mummy.
All right, I'll go first. I'm gonna kill the Wolfman. I'm gonna marry the Mummy, and I'm gonna fuck Dracula. Because Wolfman is the scariest to me. Like Dracula. Okay, this is coming from like a dude that's not like super into horror movies, as you know. But like Dracula to me, like he's kind of sexy.
Yeah.
Like he's dark. He's like, and I'm not talking like what's the fucking Dracula that you have the picture of in your bathroom?
Oh, Nosferatu.
Yeah, not that kind of like scrawny, bald Billy Corgan looking Dracula, but like the Dracula that I wanted to be as a child. Like slick back hair
You're
with
Gary
the
Oldman.
widow's peak.
Oh, no, okay. You're talking like your classic, like Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi?
Yeah, like high collar.
Christopher Lee kind of a...
Yes.
Okay.
Like there's some...
Lon Chaney, was he the Nosferatu
Lon Chaney
one?
was... No, was he? May have been. He was an ugly man.
Yeah, I'm sure he was some Dracula at
Yeah.
some point.
And then marry the Mummy, because that's just kind of,
You don't, because you don't have to fuck it.
well, he's soft. He's like quiet,
Sure. Keeps to himself.
Yeah. And then, yeah, kill the wolf, like for sure. What about you?
I want to hear Josh's first.
Okay,
All right.
I would... See, I'm torn on fuck and marry with Dracula for one reason. If he's going to fuck you, he's going to turn you, so you'll be eternally whatever. That can go... And with Mary, he's also a rich man. He's got years of riches. So you're set.
Well, he's got a castle, right?
Yeah, but do you really want to be stuck with Dracula for the rest of your life? For like eternity? So I say, I'm going to go with fuck Dracula. I'm going to go with kill the Mummy. Because it's a use. I was never a big Mummy fan. Useless. And marry the Wolfman? Sure. Well, yes. Okay. Let's just say I'm into dudes. Nothing wrong with that. He's only the Wolfman on full moon.
So if you marry the Wolfman, you actually get to like kind of marry two people. It's like a polygamous relationship.
You get a buddy. You get a dude you can hang out with, and then every full moon you deal with almost like women. Am I right, guys?
Right, once a month.
Heyo.
What about you?
So I'm gonna fuck the Wolfman because the Wolfman. I just think. I mean, he's just an animal. Just
He'll get it.
fucking tear it up.
Doggy style.
I'm going to marry Dracula because I think he's just really lonely and he needs somebody. I think if he had just an eternal lover, he would be just there for you forever. And I think he would just be, I mean, even though he's kind of a monster, I think he'd just be like gentle and providing. He's rich too. So
Sure.
Sugar daddy.
And yeah, I think I'd kill the mummy because he's just really unpredictable and kind of inhuman. And nobody really understands the mummy.
It's a useless. I'm a big Universal monsters guy, but I just never understood the appeal of the mummy.
Well, let me ask you this. Again, being a horror movie noob, what is the origin of the mummy character? Like, I get Dracula, I get Frankenstein, I get the Wolfman. Mummy was always the one where I felt he was kind of like a second tier monster.
Yeah.
So the mummy, I mean, that kind of story would have really come around. So the turn of the century, whenever they're like America and England especially were doing all these expeditions in Egypt, and that's when a lot of the ancient Egyptian, like all those tombs and the pyramids and all this crazy stuff was like unknown for a long time and was just buried under sand. And even people living in Egypt they'd lost all history of this, and so it was kind of this new exciting thing around the turn of the century when they started like finding all of these, this huge, great civilization that existed thousands of years ago that the world had no idea about. So there's a curse supposedly on the tomb of, I think it was Tutankhamun. Whenever they'd opened up his tomb, and then just about everybody that was involved with this expedition, something just like horrible happened to them. And so they say they're like the tomb was cursed, but people just got all these like weird diseases and just bad accidents. And basically in like the weeks, months, and years after they opened up that tomb, like everybody that opened it up, just like the worst shit in the world happened to them. So
kind of like Pulp Fiction, right? Like the briefcase in Pulp Fiction.
Sure.
Wasn't that like cursed? Right? No?
Well, some would say.
Back to the mummy.
I was kind of thinking about that one for a second.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought about it being as cursed.
I swore there was like some sort of theory in Pulp Fiction that anytime somebody opened George Wallace's briefcase, something bad happened to them. Kind of like a Pandora's box type deal.
I've never thought about that angle, but
one could say that anytime someone opened it, they died. Each character.
I think
died.
so. I think I read something online about that. Anyways.
Go on with the mummy.
Sorry, Mr. Mummy.
So yeah, I mean, but I just think that the idea of the mummy's curse kind of came out of that. So it's like, what if the mummy came back to life and just started just killing people? I don't know. I don't even really remember any of the old mummy movies, but I always just thought mummies are cool because of ancient Egypt shit.
Well,
is
you always see the mummy in like cartoons, Scooby Doo, that sort of thing. And as a kid, I was never afraid of the mummy because you just unravel him and he's gone.
Yeah.
Well, you got to drive a stake to Dracula's heart. Good luck getting there. The Wolfman can tear you apart. The
you have
mummy,
to shoot him with a silver bullet, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how you kill the Wolfman? Werewolf?
Yeah.
Corey Haim.
The mummy to me is weird because, okay, like I get mummies in like the Egyptian sense, like that great movie Mummy Returns.
Oh yeah,
Scorpion
the
King,
Mummy
right?
trilogy.
Oh, dude,
the franchise.
Do you want a mummy? We should get together a mummy sometime.
Have a mummathon.
A mummy challenge.
Mummathon.
I get the mummy in the Egyptian sense, but for some reason I feel like the Halloween mummy of my youth was like gentrified or like distilled because I never got, honestly, up until this moment, I'm 35 years old, I never got the correlation that the Halloween mummy had anything to do
with the Egyptian
mummy. Because you didn't, I never really saw, you didn't see like, what is the mummies?
The sarcophagus, like the
ornate,
like crazy, like the mummy headwear.
Oh yeah,
the mummy hat.
The mummy hat.
Yeah,
got to put on that mummy hat.
It's crazy. Like I never really got the connection.
Right.
Like I know mummies originated back then. That was the original mummy.
OG mummy.
It's fun to keep saying mummy over and over
Mummy.
again. Stop saying mummy. But yeah, I never got the connection.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was basically just like a zombie wrapped in toilet paper.
Or like gauze, right?
Yeah.
Easiest
Papyrus.
Papyrus.
That reminds me, there was one year that Jake, our friend Jake and Phil, they were putting together some last minute Halloween costumes, and they wanted to be ghosts, but they went to Walmart or wherever, and all they had there were fitted sheets. So they bought these fitted sheets, and they ended up being fitted sheet ghosts, but they just looked like clouds all night. So they had to like correct people all night. Like, actually, I'm a ghost, a frumpy ghost.
Oh, that's so. So while we're on Halloween talk, so here's some Halloween costume tips. All right, which I'm not really very good at because Halloween comes up and like the months before, like February, and I'm just like, I've got the perfect Halloween costume.
Mm-hmm.
Just like file it away. I know what I'm gonna be, and then they'll like just stack these up all year, and then I don't write them down or anything. So then it's like the week before Halloween, and I'm like scrambling, and then half the time I just pick something out of my closet and just make it a costume because I can't not dress up, but I also just don't want to go to any effort anymore. But anyway, so one of the best tips I can give is, especially with Halloween newbies, the kids out there, make sure that you're dressed as something that you don't have to explain all night. Whenever you're like digging in deep with like a reference, like I'm going to be this anime character, or like something just a really deep stretch, and then you spend all night like, what are you? Are you this thing? No, I'm this. No, and then by the end of the night, you're so tired of explaining what your costume is, you're not having fun anymore. So
It's a curse.
Yeah.
Just pick an easy thing that everybody knows.
The
and
curse
it's
of the
fine.
deep cut.
Yeah, the deep cut Halloween costume.
Well, yeah, I've been guilty of, we've all been guilty of having that idea of like, I'm going to do this, it's going to be obscure, and everyone's going to like it. And then you go through that mindset of, do I know what to fucking explain it? Have people seen this? Do they know what that is? Should I go as, Mike Myers' dad from So I Married an Axe Murderer? No one's going to know the reference.
No, yeah. They're going to think you're drunk uncle.
Yeah.
So the year that Napoleon Dynamite came out, and it was like kind of this indie film, and it played in the theaters, and we went and saw it like once or twice, and it was hilarious. And it was this movie that our friends all knew about, and we kind of thought, everybody knows about this Napoleon Dynamite movie. It was in the theaters. It's funny. And it was like kind of in the gap, I think, before
Pre-Hot Topic.
Yeah,
like before
exactly.
Hot Topic. Yeah.
So it was either like right before it was on DVD, or maybe had been released, but it just hadn't really picked up notoriety yet. And I dressed up like Napoleon Dynamite. I went to a Halloween party. And then I was like waiting tables at the time, and like we could dress up. So I dressed up like that. I'm like, I nailed it. I mean, I had like the little Jufro back then. I got these like granny glasses that looked perfect. Made the little Vote for Pedro shirt. Tucked it into some like cheesy sweatpants, had the high tops. Like if you knew Napoleon Dynamite was, you'd see that and you're like, wow, that looks great. And then instead, the entire time, like either people not realizing that I was dressed up and thought I was some dork, or just like, what are you supposed to be? I'm just like, it's this movie. Yeah. And then of course the next year, by this time it's like blown up. And then I go to the party, and then there's like 6 Napoleon Dynamites, and I'm just shaking my fist. Like,
and even like 3 Uncle Ricos.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, that was a way deep cut last year. But speaking of like last Halloween, you had a pretty good costume, and I thought it was really cool because you were Bob from Bob's Burgers, and then Jenny was, what's the daughter's name? I just blanked.
The Butts one? Or the girl with the bunny ears.
Bunny ear girl.
Damn it. I don't know.
Well, my sister
People are yelling.
was
fucking...
what's the fucking wife's name?
Tina? No, Tina's the other
Belcher.
daughter.
No, Tina's the nerd.
Okay.
What's the wife?
Lois?
I can't.
That's Marge, I think.
Damn it.
And then like Lisa's other
Scrappy?
daughter, right? Yeah.
Damn.
Slappy? Sammy?
Samsonite. I can't remember. What's the fucking wife from Bob's Burgers? Josh, Google it up.
I'm on it.
Bob, Linda Belcher.
Linda.
My sister was Linda. And what's the fucking rabbit ear girl? This is so interesting.
I love this cartoon too, and I can never remember any of the characters' names other than Bob because he's titular.
Lois. No. Is it Louise?
Louise.
Yeah, Louise.
Okay. Yeah, so that was like a really good costume. Josh had a killer costume. He was Garth Brooks.
And I didn't have to explain it.
No.
Everyone
was
knew what
the
it was.
best.
That was a great.
The Mo Betta.
That was fun. Your Jonathan Davis was pretty on point.
Dude, I shaved my facial hair into the like Satan mustache with the terrible soul patch.
I'm excited for your this year though.
Dude,
keep that one a secret though.
It's quickly approaching, yeah. I've got a great Halloween costume idea, but I can't unveil it.
You got it put together yet?
But it's like 10 minutes on Amazon. Like just to throw a few things in the cart, hit order. Cost me all of probably like $20 to get everything I need. And comfortable. This year I'm going for comfortable.
Comfort.
I want to hear all about it off air.
comfort.
Yeah, I'll tell you on the break.
No spoilers.
Yeah. But you've had some great Halloween costumes in the past, man. Like I remember seeing pictures of like this kind of like a David Lee Roth-esque character if it wasn't the man himself.
David Lee Roth.
Yeah. It was like David Lee Roth on a fucking acid trip. It was insane. And I still see those pictures floating around the internet from time to time.
Basically like, I think it was like snow leopard tights, like lycra spandex tights, and then just like this neon, like probably like just like a preteen girl, just like bathing suit onesie and like a huge blonde wig. And yeah, that was pretty great. We went to, I think it was like one of the years the parade was going on. So we were down there. We ended up at like Tapworks, and there was like this metal band karaoke, it was like Metal Nuts or something. I don't remember what they were called, but they'd just pop up and be like a live band, and they would just have like a set list of songs that they can play, and then like the karaoke monitor. And so it's like you're doing karaoke with a full band, which is pretty fun. And so they had, I think Panama. And so, yeah, I got to do Panama dressed as David Lee Roth. I had like women putting dollar bills just like in my pants.
Make a little coin.
It was tight.
Nice.
I got like free drinks. That was
but again,
great.
slightly erotic.
Yeah.
Like, tell me that wasn't kind of like a Magic Mike moment for you.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You
sexy.
loved
I was
it.
owning it.
You loved it.
I think another reason why Halloween may strike one as erotic is, has anyone ever done a Halloween hookup in costume?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. And I think you hit the nail on the head. That, as they say, I got lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Never happened again. Never happened before that. But one year.
Luck of the pumpkin.
Dude. Luck of the sexy Dracula. Yeah.
Were you Dracula?
Oh, dude. I was kind of a Dracula. Again, a lot of my Halloween costumes are kind of ambiguous, but I found this badass like 3-piece pinstripe suit at the thrift store that like fit my young svelte body perfectly. Did my hair up all cool, put on this cool makeup, kind of like this Dracula zombie hybrid. But it worked.
Was that the one where you had the Edward Scissorhandsy kind of hair?
Kinda,
yeah. Like
yeah.
the messy, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it was, for lack of a story I've told before, it worked. It worked.
What kind of creature of the night did you hook up with?
A sailor?
All right.
A sexy sailor.
Sexy sailor.
Yeah.
Just grabbed one of the sexy costumes off the rack.
No, it was a sexy Jaeger bottle.
Dude, I'm waiting. Okay, so you get this thing every Halloween. It's what's going to be the sexy outfit this year? I guarantee there's going to be a sexy Trump.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean?
I just got a boner.
Every year, Diana, I like to go to a Halloween store just once and not really get anything, just kind of look around and people watch. And you see all these new costumes. And last year, on an end cap was a Caitlyn Jenner next to Bruce Jenner, the Wheaties box thing. Like that's just kind of classless, right?
It is.
It's kind of shitty.
It is.
But that's what I'm saying. I guarantee there's going to be a sexy Trump
for
watch.
A male or female sexy Trump?
I'm talking like there's going to be a girl with like a shitty Trump wig, a suit, but
orange.
But her tits are going to be out. It's going to be one of those like I work at
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Like a sexy Harry Potter kind of a suit kind of a thing. And yeah.
See, I think especially with like, like the orange and all that, it's going to be one of those ambiguous costumes because you're going to show up to work at Twin Peaks and everyone's like, oh, you're a sexy Oompa Loompa.
Exactly. Yeah. And they have to explain it. No, actually, I want to deport all the Oompa Loompas.
No, well, then you have somebody dress up as a wall and they come with you to work.
Or a chocolate river.
A chocolate river.
I'm thinking like sexy Hillary Clinton.
How would you do that?
I don't know.
It's like go back to like 1992 when she was hot as fuck.
More like 1972. Am I right?
You get like, it's like one of those like Kim Jong-un like pantsuit things, and it's just like a deep V cut.
All the way down.
Yeah, all the way down.
All the way down. Elvira style.
Yeah.
All the way down.
Oh boy,
Man. So yeah, Halloween, it is coming up. It's fastly approaching. I'm just waiting for that weather to change.
man.
Like we got teased a little bit last week.
Yeah.
Kind of cooled off a little bit. It was a little cloudy. And then today, like every day, Josh and I work together, and every day we go for a walk. It's the official cigarette break of the day for everyone at work. But Josh and I, we take a walk around the neighborhood. And I was like, man, this sucks. Where's my fall? Where's my fall?
Dude, it's September 8th and it's hot. I don't like it. It's hot. I don't like it.
It's so
I will say
hot.
it's usually way hotter this time of the year. I feel like. I mean, like the summer peaked at super hot. Maybe I'm just like used to it by now, but I feel like, it's still like hot, but it's tolerable. Like you can sit
Yeah.
outside. You get kind of sweaty from the humidity, but
I think I'm a hoodie guy. I like layering jackets. Just give me a hoodie and a denim jacket. I'm good to go.
winter, fall and winter are my shit.
Well, speaking of Halloween, that's one of the costumes I did where I dressed up as Sprockets. And I had on black tights and a black women's turtleneck that was super thin, and it was cold as shit.
That was a great costume, though.
It was fun. That was a last minute. I like to go last minute. I don't really want to plan them out too much because you do that. I do that too. Like February, like I'm doing that shit. Won't write it down. Then I'll have like 5 or 6 cool ideas, and they just kind of evaporate and go away. So then just whatever's that last minute, a week or two before, I'll just make it and do it. I'm not a costume off the rack buyer. I want to make it.
No.
I'm also not a costume renter. Even though there's a costume renting store right by my house. And I've been in there
One
before.
right down the street here too, yeah.
Yeah, Masquerade, right?
Mhm.
I've been in there on a whim, and I'm always like, dude, that would be so funny, like to be a giant slice of pizza or like a president or something,
Yeah.
like George Washington. But like, they all kind of stink and they're old.
Oh, there's piss. Somebody pissed in that.
Well,
Somebody threw
they're
up
like
on it.
hot. It's like all that. I don't know what material that is that all Halloween costumes are made out
Itchy
of.
too.
I think
Itchy.
it's asbestos and wool.
Yeah.
Yes. Equal parts.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I don't want to spend like $40. I got my costume picked out.
Oh,
It's like $18 prime.
done.
There's
To
just
my
that
door.
challenge too of like you got to come up with like an original. I mean, even if it's like a thing that's been done before. I mean, there's no such thing as an original Halloween costume, but you got to put your spin on it. And like part of the fun is just tracking down the things and just trying to make it work. And I feel like it's always just getting the off the rack or the rental. It's just the easy way out.
It is.
Yeah.
But it never fails that I'll see a picture on Instagram or Facebook, and there's always that guy at the party that went to Spencer Gifts and bought the dick costume. like with the inflatable balls that you have to kick around all night when you're walking around.
Yeah.
Like, who buys that? Who buys... You know what? I know it's a horny night. I'm going to be the dick.
I'm gonna get laid. And that dude probably did.
Probably
Got laid.
does.
Yeah, probably does. Or the dude that just does that bare minimum, go to Spencer's Gifts and buy the orange shirt that says correctional facility on it. And
Whoa.
that's their costume. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
That kind of shit.
one like off the rack costume that I kind of debate every year though is just like doing a Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Freddy's my dude. I love Freddy Krueger. I've always just like, if there's one that I was going to do, I debate it every year. Cause then, I mean, you also, if I did that, you have to like, I'd pay the extra to get like the nice sweater, you know?
Yeah.
Cause then you can wear that
Middle
shit year
Beyond
round.
makes one and it looks tight as shit.
Cause I would just wear that like on the reg.
Yeah,
anyways.
it's a cool sweatshirt.
And you get a
Green
bonus fedora out of
Yeah.
the deal. It's like, I
Well,
can
I
tip
mean,
this
I've-
year round.
I've got that covered already.
Yeah.
It's really just which fedora is like the Freddy enough one.
Which one's brown and the brim has to be wide enough?
Is it
I have-
brown or is it a green?
Is it
brown
green?
or is it black?
I think it's brown.
I think it's kind of a brownie.
Okay.
I have been working on this really sick glove though. It's like a Freddy glove, but like instead of the blades, just like vapes on every finger.
Dude.
Freddy Vapor?
There's
Anybody's got a chin beard. It's not burned for some reason.
no, it's like burnt face, but just with a bad neck beard.
I think I got my costume now.
Dude, okay, I'm
This is
gonna
it.
I'm gonna let you in on a little insider info here. So I've been known to walk amongst the clouds, as they say,
Oh,
in the
Jesus.
past. There's a very popular brand of vapes called Kanger.
Kanger?
Freddie Kanger. There you
Oh,
go.
okay.
Done.
Done.
That's
Set.
a freebie.
You got to buy that vape, though.
Well, speaking of vapes, okay, so you started a new blog recently.
Yes.
The Numb.
Speaking of vapes.
Speaking of vapes, it's a vape-centric blog, right?
Well, I mean, so far, 1 out of the 3 posts that have been published are about vapes, so
That's pretty vape heavy.
it's going to be kind of hard to move away from how I've typecast it so far. But
So what made you want to start this blog? I mean, I know you've been writing for a while and kind of getting into this thing. I mean, you've written as long as I've known you and way before I knew you, but now you're kind of coming into this like, I get paid. Like this is kind of a job now, or it is a job now. So like, tell me about your blog.
It's pretty recent that I've started it, so there's not a lot of content yet, but you can check it out. It's the numbdiaries.wordpress.com. So new that there's not even a real URL. I'm still using the WordPress, but the Numb Diaries. So it's really just an overflow for other things that I can't really publish on the other places that I work for. I write for Edible Oklahoma City, which is a food magazine. Really, really love writing for them. And then the Lost Ogle, which is co-sponsors of Anthem's delicious Ogletoberfest. I think I'm going to pop one of those right now.
Oh, that looks delicious.
So, and both of those are really, really great. They're fun to work for. Great editors. So with, like with Edible, I get to write things that are kind of more serious that I'm passionate about, which is food, the local food scene.
Mm-hmm.
I get to just talk to a lot of really creative, talented people all the time and learn from them. So that's really cool. And then with like Lost Ogle, that's more topical and satire, and I get to be funny, and that's challenging in a different way. But even with both of those, I mean, it's still pretty limited. So this is the Numb Diaries started literally as a place to dump my Steven Adams, Nick Collison fan fiction that I'm in the middle of writing. So
What's really funny, I was telling Josh about the site where, we were talking about kind of reading up for the podcast tonight. And you made a really good point. You're like, oh, I thought it was like the Numb Diaries, like nums, like food, because you write for Edible also. Yeah. He's like, oh, there's a B in there. I was like, oh, totally. Like that could have went either way.
Yes, so I was Googling it. I was just putting in NUM Diaries.
It's actually the Mum Diaries, and it's all about the mummies.
Yeah. Oh, I smell a spinoff.
Actually, we're going to be doing a podcast where it's going to be like 1 minute at a time of the Mummy movies, and we're going to go through the entire Mummy series, just a minute at a time, like that Indiana Jones one.
You could like watch a minute of it and then do like an hour on that minute.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get sponsors. It's going to be sick.
Be long. Get Brendan Fraser on. He's not doing anything.
What is he doing?
What is he doing?
Monkey Bone 2, maybe?
Was he in Monkey Bone? I thought that was Chris Kattan.
Chris Kattan was Monkey Bone.
Oh, but wait, so it's got a double whammy.
It's a
Fraser
Who Framed
and the
Roger
Kattan.
Rabbit kind of a animation with reality, and it was a weird. If you watch it doing other things, it's pretty intense. It's just weird. Not a great film though.
Like watch it while just like boning a monkey.
Vaping heavily.
Just heavy vapes. There's probably a vape called Monkey Bone. Anyways, back to your the fan fiction thing. I found very interesting. So is it about? I read a few passages. Is it basically about a bromance between the two?
It's a little bromancy, yeah. So the idea was probably spurned it was seeded somewhere like maybe last Thunder off season, and just Nick Collison and Steven Adams I think they went to like Seattle together, and they were just posting all these pictures on Instagram of just like riding in speedboats and going to restaurants. I'm just like, man, bet those dudes are having a lot of fun. I'd like to hang out with those guys, and just kind of imagining like what those dudes are up to. And so then this summer they're in New Zealand. I think they were doing like a youth basketball camp and charity events and stuff.
Yeah, like a lot of the team went.
Yeah. And so just kind of seeing the stuff on there, and I don't know, just late one night was like, I think I even put like something out on Twitter. It was just like, I added some of the Thunder blogs and just like, would anybody publish my Steven Adams, Nick Collison fan fiction? And one of them got back to me and like, yeah, sure. And so I was just like, fuck it. And just like that night, just stayed up till like 3 a.m. writing the first part of this dumb thing, and then sent it off to him. And he's like, yeah, we might put it up in the next day or so. And then he didn't. I'm just like, well, you lost your chance, buddy. It's going up on my blog.
See you on my way down.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so interesting to me though, because like, you and I used to be in a band together, and you were the drummer in the band, but you also wrote, I would say 90% of the lyrics, 80 to 90% of the lyrics.
We worked them together.
We did. It was great. But, I wish I could write like a single letter. I wish I could just
You never learned how.
I never learned how to write properly.
You've written songs and stuff.
Whoa, girl, I miss you. I'll kiss you. I'll diss you. I'll dismiss you.
I'll piss.
I'll piss
on you.
You wrote for Gigi Allen.
I did.
I didn't know you were a murder junkie.
Man, to this day, like, I wish I could write, and that blows my mind. Like when I read your stuff, I have a Lucas scrapbook.
Oh,
like between Erica and I, we have like pretty much everything you've written, and then we have all your old zines. Because man, the zine game used to be so fun, and I only did 2 zines, but like I got in when the getting was good, had so much fun doing it, and like even though it's not a lot of writing in the zines that I made, it's like I wish I could be a writer, but I just don't have it in me. So when you just said stay up till 3 a.m. writing, like I would love to do that, but I'm just so, man, stupid. Is that the right word? Or critical of myself? Like, it's
I would say
hard.
probably critical. Yeah, it is hard. I've tried writing. I've had this like fucking harebrained idea to write a children's book, and it's a series of a character that I'm not going to divulge because I don't want someone fucking stealing it. But I had this idea. I'm like, I'm going to write it. I'm going to fucking do it. If I can set myself to writing a song a day, I can write a children's book. And you stay up till 3 a.m, you write something, and then you're like, oh, fuck, that's not good. You go back, changing it, to the point you just get frustrated and like say, fuck it. I like writing, but I can't do it. God bless you for having the stamina, I guess.
Yeah, the staying power.
The staying power of like not giving. Yeah, stick withitiveness. Yeah.
I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's something that, I mean, when I was younger, I mean, when I went to UCO briefly, like I did 2 years there and then did my general ed and never took a major. And I pretty much just dropped out because I'm like, anything that I want to do with my life, I don't think I need to go to school for. Mm-hmm. And writing was always like the thing that was kind of on the back of my mind. I took these like writing the novel classes, and over, there was like 2 separate ones. And over that, I mean, I wrote like half a book out of that. And was really into it. And then I just dropped out and then just started doing other things. Actually, after that, me and Austin were doing a funny, this is kind of pre-blogging days, but we did this website called Rectal Anarchy. I don't know if anybody out there ever saw that or remembered. We just wrote just funny, weird articles, and we just make fun of like hardcore kids and all this stuff.
Did you have the like the old school like counter at the bottom of the website that was like, it was like, like the odometer.
Yeah.
Do you remember that back in the old days?
Sign my guest book.
Oh, dude. When someone signed my guest book, I felt so important. So important.
And then it was like spam bot, like, come visit my blog at sexblogs.net.
Yeah. Sexy Asian singles. Halloween.
I was like,
all the horny shit.
I was just going to see if that was
double
still a
click
thing.
it.
We were talking about that last night. I actually met up with Austin and Josh, and we were talking about chat rooms and how that's just this antiquated ghost mall idea.
Which it almost seems like the way that we communicate now, just through like just texting and Snapchatting and Facebook message and all these like message applications. Like, I mean, maybe it's just because it's easier to communicate like that with people that you actually know, or just like strangers you're trying to hook up with on fucking Tinder or whatever.
Right.
I really enjoyed chat rooms. I thought they were a lot of fun. Although we were told not to don't go to Hometown, don't go to this or that. But there's those subgenres. It's like when you try to introduce me to Reddit, I still don't fucking like Reddit. The one thing I kind of see is it's almost like a chat room in a way.
It's like a chat room / like message board.
Yeah. But you don't get that instant message like you do in the chat room. And chat rooms were a little sketchy. And looking back on it, it's a little sketchy.
Oh, yeah.
But you go to that like subgenre like punk chat or skate chat, Christian chat.
Well, back in the AOL days, there were the like AOL curated chat rooms. And like you said, there was the hometown chat rooms.
Hosted.
Which anyone could make a chat room. And that was where the real horny stuff laid. Like the real Halloween-y stuff laid, you know? And that's where I hung out. Like, oh man.
It was like the South Side truck stop of chat rooms.
It really was. And I remember
lot lizards.
And this is so crazy, and I know this dates me.
ASL, guys.
But dude, like I remember trading JPEGs of Jenny McCarthy naked.
Fake though.
No, real. She was in Playboy, dude. Come on.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they were like these tiny, you know, by today's standards and large resolutions, they were tiny little kilobyte files, and we would like
it took an hour to load up,
dude, overnight,
and you could fit like 10 of them on a floppy disk, and that was your little stash. That was your digital stash. Mom ain't gonna find this. She don't got a computer to put it in.
And then you leave it out in the woods for some other unsuspecting teenager to find. There was never any woods porn of like floppy disks and shit, were there? I never found it as a kid.
Dude, digital wood porn? That's an album title, dude.
I found CD or DVDs. I found
like the magazine or whatever.
Yeah,
like in the shitty little flimsy pack thing?
No, not even that. Just a fucking disc laying against like a fucking pine cone, like on the way home from school.
Oh,
like whoa,
that was left for you.
Oh, God smiled upon me.
Was it scratched? Was there a skip?
Oh, well, yeah, but you know, it's like scrambled porn. You just take what you can
like,
get.
All right,
man. Or when I worked at the video game store, like every once in a while, someone would bring in like a stack of like PS1 games, and underneath that twisted metal, there was like, you know,
twisted pussy,
twisted titties, or you know, more realistically, it was like Grandpa's Gangbang number 17 or something.
Backdoor Babes Volume 9 or whatever, yeah.
But I would always I would slide that fucking disc in the back of my white leg pants. Like, I'm going to...
Well, yeah, you got those 23-inch openings. You got a lot of pocket room.
That was actually the name of one of the pornos.
23-inch.
Gonna jinko this one later.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break. All right, welcome back to Boys episode 21.
Welcome.
With our friend Lucas Dunn.
Hit me.
Speaking of hitting you, you still Thunder Upper on the old Twitter?
That's correct. At Thunder Upper on the tweets. Hit me up on the tweets.
So speaking of, quickly, I need, because we haven't had a chance to talk about this, I need your quick take on the Kevin Durant situation.
Oh, you got an hour. No, you know, he is entitled to do whatever he wants. He's a free agent. Dude wants to win. I can't fault anybody for wanting to do that. It's kind of strange to want to join the team that just beat you in the finals while you're up 3-1, and it seems like a fucking bandwagon thing to do. Plus, you're like on the like they could have, with that squad, they could have beat Golden State, and it's. A lot of it's Kevin Durant's fault that they didn't win. All of the role players showed up. Cantor was great. Adams was great. Even like Roberson was hitting his shots. Like everybody else was doing their job. And that dude choked. Like all they had to do was just win one more game. And then they just lost fucking 4 straight. And 3 straight, I guess, at the 3-1. But
it's far from me to be like a conspiracy theorist. I mean, we know people.
But... Kevin Durant's a reptilian shapeshifter.
But seriously, like up 3-1, and then you fucking diarrhea.
Join the Build-A-Burgers.
You Jägermeister puke all over the bed, and then you leave the team to go to the people you lost to. Like, there's that little twinkling in the back of my head that's like, did he lose on purpose?
Well, and because there was like talk afterwards, like it came out that like, I mean, they were basically recruiting him all season. I mean, they played. I mean, like they were going to be like Olympic teammates and all that. You know, he played with like Draymond Green and but I mean, they were kind of like actively recruiting him. I mean, a lot of other teams were recruiting him all season long, and I don't think he choked on purpose,
Right.
but I can't help think that was in the back of his mind that like I may want to go play with this team, and I don't. I mean, maybe psyched him out. I think he still wanted to win. He's not the kind of guy that like wants to lose. Like he wants to fucking win a title, and I'm sure he would have loved to win a title in Oklahoma City, but I don't know what's going on in his head. I can't speak for him. He's a grown man. He makes his own decisions. I'm happy for everything that he did in Oklahoma City. I'm not going to be too bitter. That said, next time I see them play in Oklahoma City, I'm going to be booing that motherfucker so loud because he's kind of the enemy now. Like, he just turned his back. Like, they almost won a title this year. Like, they probably would have beat Cleveland, and they were the way that like Sam was trying to like rebuild the squad. I mean, I think that Oladipo trade was a really smart move. I think we would have come back next season. I hate saying we.
Right.
They.
Like you're on the team.
Yeah, I'm not on the team. But I think that the Thunder would have come back just equally as like a contender, and he walked away. So
that reminds me of this saying, going back to the we're on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing, you couldn't even hold Kevin Durant's jockstrap. It's like such a dad saying.
That is a dad saying.
Well, but whose job is it to hold somebody's jockstrap on the team?
Well, there's Jockstrap Boy.
yeah, the jockstrap boy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really like.
It's an intern job. I think it's unpaid.
It's definitely unpaid. Maybe it's you get a high school credit or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was never very athletic. In fact, I was usually just an athletic supporter. Okay. Having said that, let's go back to a happy place. So, you and I go way back. All three of us go way back, but going way, way back to a happy place, which also reminds me of Halloween. I think we really kind of came to know each other at the mall.
Crossroads Mall?
Yeah, Crossroads Mall.
Does it remind you of Halloween because it's basically one giant Halloween store now?
That, and it's also a ghost town. It's weird. I have this weird mall nostalgia, like to this day, and not the ones that are still, not the ones that are still standing. There was this Vice mini documentary. I don't know if it's a series or a one-off, but it was called Ghost Mall, and they basically like the skater guy broke into a mall and like talked about the mall and then skated the mall and was like ollieing over like trash and like septic disgustingness. And it just reminded me of Crossroads Mall. And then knowing that you were going to be on the show, I wanted to address malls because Crossroads Mall reminded me of Halloween year round.
Yeah.
There was a wig store in Crossroads Mall.
There was.
Upper level.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember walking by there, especially during Halloween times, and seeing the wigs. They'd put the funky wigs, in the displays during Halloween. And there was always this like David Bowie Labyrinth-esque wig, but it was like rainbow colored with like glitter in it. And again, going back to the eroticism as a boy.
I just want to fuck David Bowie.
I just want to put that wig on something and fuck it. No, but I would see these wigs, and even as a kid, I'd be like, those wigs are sexy for some reason.
Yeah, definitely.
Man.
The first memory that I have of you is at Crossroads Mall and buying a Torrance Crump cassette tape demo and a patch from you.
At the mall.
At the mall.
Fuck.
I think it was in front of Glamour Shots. It was around there, I think, on like the ground floor,
right
by the escalator.
Yeah, dude, that's
you guys were getting your band photo done there. I think you guys just got done getting your band photo done at Glamour Shots.
Yeah, we had some Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
went around the corner, popped some collars, had the photos taken,
sipping an orange Julius, kicking back.
So let me ask: so were you a sandwich artist, or was that Ryan?
Both of us were.
Okay, I thought so. Because I remember, looking back on when we met each other and our old friendship back then, I remember, Lucas was kind of like the mall rat guy. Like you had your fro.
Big blonde fro. Yeah, or orange sometimes.
Yes.
Or dirty blue.
And I distinctly remember Ryan working at Subway. But I thought that you worked there too. And I'm so glad that you did. Yeah, there was
Subway. It was right next to the arcade.
Oh yeah.
It was like between the arcade and Hot Topic.
Dippin' Dots. more specifically. There's a Dippin' Dots.
And it was that Subway back when they had the black and white Subway shit on the wall, and it smelled like fucking
A Subway.
a Subway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I guess, my second job. I worked at Crest Foods in Midwest City briefly, got fired, or I think I just quit, and then worked at Subway. I got fired from Subway. But Ryan and I, we were told later on, are like basically responsible for that franchise, that particular location shutting down, which brings us immense pride because the owners were just fucking shitty people. And so we would just do things all like we'd have like just rubber band fights with other people that, you know, like worked in the kiosks out front, just launching rubber bands at people, or we just intentionally not make bread. We just like just not make bread for like an hour, and then we'd run out of bread. And then there was one particular time this guy was enraged. He comes in and like whatever kind of bread he wanted, we're out of, and he's got this crying kid. His kid wasn't even crying. He was just dick. He's like, what am I supposed to do with this hungry kid? I'm trying to feed her dinner. You don't have any fucking bread. What am I supposed to do? And then Ryan just so calmly, nonchalantly is like, I don't know, go to Chick-fil-A.
Go to one of the other like 15 places to eat
Go
in
to
the mall.
Sbarro's. It's right across the way.
Little known fact though, you and Ryan actually invented the lettuce wrap that night.
Yeah, with the whole gluten-free movement.
Started from
the California diet. What was that thing?
The Atkins?
Atkins.
It
Yeah.
started in
Yeah.
Crossroads Mall. Man, I miss the mall. Like I still go to the mall. Like I'll go to like Quail Springs,
sure
Penn Square, but they don't hold that magical place in my heart that Crossroads and Heritage Park Mall held.
Because you got better shit to do now. Like the mall as a teenager was cool because it was a place you could go and there was like other people your age that didn't go to your school. That like your parents weren't there. They just drop you off and then just like have fun. Like we would just go to the mall all day. Like we'd hang out at the mall. Like there would be, because we would just talk to people that worked at stores, like the Hot Topic there. We would just hang out and just bug people while they were working. And like we would be there sometimes like longer than people's like work shifts.
Yeah, it's like I'll see you on the way out.
Yeah.
Saw you on the way in, I'll see you on the way out.
Yeah.
I was never a mall rat in the sense that I hung out at the mall a lot, but I had a lot of jobs at the mall.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Many jobs at the mall.
Many jobs at many malls.
Yeah, multiple malls. I
Multiple
worked in
malls.
4 different malls.
Me too.
And
You're mall man.
it's weird.
I'm a mall man
It's
for life.
It's weird to think about the mall now because like Erica and I, like we'll go to the mall every once in a while, but now it's like 90% of the time I'll just order it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Or eBay or whatever. And going to the mall now, it's like this anxiety riddled.
There appears to be more people now than there were when we were mall ratting. I was a mall rat kid too. Like when you grow up in Choctaw, there's really not jack shit to do. The second one of your friends gets a fucking driver's license, you go to the mall. You can go to Heritage Park. It'll do, but you got to make that drive to Crossroads.
Just right down 240.
Right down 240. If you want to get real fancy, you go to Penn. But Crossroads was always like the stomping grounds. And then you go to that theater across the way that was a dollar theater, which is no longer there, which kind of makes me sad. A little bit.
There's a huge lack of dollar theaters in Oklahoma.
There's
now.
one.
What, North Park?
North Park's the only one.
But they have new movies there.
They do, and they're not really $1, they're like $2.50. But you're sitting and don't do it. I do not
Nothing
recommend.
costs $1 no more.
Ain't right, man? Shit.
It was a sad day when that theater, not the new theater.
Not the AMC, the one outside.
Yeah.
The corner one.
The Regal?
The Regal.
Yeah. I saw many movies
so
there.
many,
Yeah.
so many
movies
firsts there. Yeah.
So
Mighty
many,
Ducks.
So many. Yeah?
Mighty Ducks, saw Mighty Ducks there.
I saw the Blair Witch Project like the day or the day after it came out at that Regal Cinema, and that movie fucking blew me away.
Dude, same here. And I saw The Ring there too, and that was right before it went to a dollar theater. It went to a dollar theater like a little bit after that. Yeah. The place is always sticky as shit too.
I spent a lot of time at Shawnee Mall though.
Yeah.
Shawnee Mall was
That's
it was,
a fifth.
It was something else.
It was.
You worked at Shawnee Mall too?
Yeah, well, I've worked at every fucking mall in the metro area.
You get a badge for that, right?
I should for working at every mall, and it's just the saddest badge.
Yeah, a badge of disparity and low pay.
You should get like an Auntie Anne's tattoo in memory of all of your mall jobs.
Because there was one at every mall.
And they were all delicious.
They were.
Do you think somebody has the old school Hot Topic logo
Yes.
where it was like monster font?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do a quick round. Starting with you, Lucas. Best mall food eatery. It could be restaurant or an autonomous unit for mid-mall snacking.
Probably the one that I frequented the most would have just been the Taco Mayo at Crossroads Mall. It was really just out of like just budget and
Cheap, 50-cent tacos.
It was cheap, and it was like you could get I was vegetarian then, so I could just get like bean burrito. Just get a bean. That's where I learned the trick, which I still do to this day. At Taco Mayo, you get the bean burrito. You add the lettuce. You add the tomato. That's free. I think the onions are free also. You load it up with other stuff, and then all of a sudden you've got this like pretty good sized meal for like, they were like 69 cents or something.
You know how you
back
add to
then.
that? I still do that. You add a tater loco, and then you put potatoes in it.
I do that.
Damn.
That's a cheap way of eating a better burrito than just a bean burrito.
And they got the fresh salsa bar. Well, not the one at Crossroads Mall. They did not have a
No,
salsa
they
bar.
gave you
No
salsa.
bar.
No bar.
Just pre divvied out cups of salsa.
Yeah, that place kept me alive. What about you, Robbie?
Man, in the mall. Gosh. Okay, so I worked at Hot Topic. The first Hot Topic in Oklahoma opened in Crossroads
Which
Mall.
was a big deal.
Yeah, it was a huge deal. I didn't open the store, but I worked there very early on, like within the first, 6 months or so of it being open. And
What was the most recent Marilyn Manson album for when the store opened?
Antichrist Superstar?
no,
Mechanical Animals?
no, let's go back. I believe it was Smells Like Children, the remix album.
So it was pre-Antichrist when that
Yes.
store opened?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that is true, yeah.
Because I remember folding many of the shirts of like him with the green light, like with the Willy Wonka hat doing the shush, And there was this lady that worked with me back then. And God, I mean, she was probably like, 8-10 years older than I was. And
So you thought she was just old as fuck?
oh yeah, just like I was working with the Crypt Keeper.
This
basically.
haggard 26-year-old.
She wore these bandages all over her. It was weird. Like, I don't know.
She's a mummy.
She was this like 6.5 foot tall goth girl, and she played in a Cure cover band.
Oh, wow.
And of course, I was just like smitten with her. This young Christian dork. Like, ooh, the dark side. Let me flirt with that. And she also worked at the Taco Mayo in Crossroads Mall. So it was funny because she would come into the store like decked out, head to toe in like black, tall boots, just beautiful, a beautiful specimen of a woman for my young brain at the time. And then every once in a while, I'd pick up a shift at Crossroads, on my day off or whatever. And I'd go across and, I'd get a little hungry, folding
break.
shirts all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lunch break, dinner break, go to Taco Mayo. And she'd be in like the bean stained polo with like the bad, bad hat on. And I was just like, oh, it just like totally killed any sort of like
boner kill.
yeah, like mythological like sexiness of like this-
Eroticism.
yes, Halloween, you know. And I was like, man, it was this weird dichotomy of like Hot Topic and hunger. But man, I can't think of my favorite restaurant. I mean,
Crossroads had, I think, the best because it was separate. There was a food court downstairs, and then they had many different units. There was the A&W root beer upstairs, which sold corn dog nuggets, which were the fucking shit. And there was that McDonald's, that 2-leveled McDonald's upstairs as well.
You remember when you could smoke in there?
In the McDonald's?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was gross, but
you-
I did it a lot.
No, well, I would always get like a what's that? The cheap one, like the double cheeseburger or whatever.
the McDouble?
Yeah.
I think it predated the McDouble.
What
The
was
double cheeseburger?
or just the kids burger, like the value
Just like
burger
a
they had?
49-cent cheeseburger.
Yeah, 49-cent cheeseburger and like a small fry and a small Coke, and you'd sit by the front because you don't want to be an asshole, and you just smoke. But you can smoke everywhere in Crossroads. There's those little like divot seats just around with a little ashtray. You could smoke wherever you want.
Man, I'm still trying to think of my favorite restaurant. And I just going back to my Crossroads days, I'm thinking like Garfield's.
Ooh.
Oh shit!
You could, like,
Chicken tenders, bro.
dude, it was decent.
Chicken
It was
tenders and
decent.
mozzarella sticks. That you go there like if it was payday, like you just got a paycheck, or like you saved, because that was expensive when you're like 16.
Dude, I remember being like 17, working at Hot Topic in Crossroads Mall. I'd get my paycheck, and it was a measly like $139.
Mm-hmm.
And we
It's
would
like
go
teenager rich though.
It was.
That is
yeah,
teen rich.
It was. And we would go to Garfield's, and like our tab, you know, at the end of the night would be like $12, $15. And I was like, I just spent a good chunk of my paycheck on like 4 chicken tenders
And mozzarella sticks.
all the sticks.
Gotta
All
get
the
the
sticks. What's your favorite?
Mine was the Mayo.
Okay. Yeah.
What was your favorite?
Well, I'm going to say for snacking, it's definitely Aunt Annie's pretzels. That's like, you can't really go wrong there.
That cinnamon raisin
pretzel.
Oh,
I never fuck with the dessert pretzels. I just go straight with salted with the honey mustard.
so you're a
Classic.
savory.
I'm over savory.
Okay.
It was the best. It's just the best. Or the corn dog nuggets at A&W. But what it is now, I want to go back because there's all these different places where those restaurants were, and now they're like taco bars and stuff.
Huh.
I kind of want to go check that out.
Have
Anywho,
When's the
I've
last
heard
time
it's
you've
like-
been to Crossroads Mall?
It's
Been a
probably
while.
been like 2 years or something. It's been a while. It was kind of in its transition stage. I hear it's kind of cool now. I mean, it's like just more of like a Southside Mexican market.
yeah.
And I hear it's actually kind of cool, but I mean, the last time I went, it was mostly shuttered businesses. There was like a kiosk or two of dudes selling mixtapes. I think Victoria's Secret was maybe still open, or Bath and Body Works. I don't know, but yeah,
Like a shoe store or two peppered in.
There's a Foot Locker, a Bath and Body Works, and I think a Sears, and that's pretty much it. The rest of it's all Mexican marts, which is cool because it's food, and it's a lot of quinceañeras going on and that kind of thing. And they have a stage with this huge sound system on it, which is kind of crazy. Where the carousel was. No, the carousel is still there.
I remember the beginning.
Does Tiffany perform?
Oh, mall tours.
I wish. Samantha Fox, perhaps. I remember the beginning of the end for Crossroads Mall. Working at Hot Topic, things started going downhill. You know, you'd see the boarded up places at the end there, and there was a kiosk right out in front that sold Pokemon wall scrolls.
Yes.
Not even cards, no video games, T-shirts, nothing. Just wall scrolls. And I thought, God bless the poor bastard that has to work there, or the poor bastard that owns that. Like, my God.
You're not getting your return of investment on that.
No.
Not gonna happen. When I knew it was the end, the death throes, the last gasp, was when I saw that they closed Eastern Treasures. I think that was one of the last ones to go. They held out.
Where else are you going to buy Ninja Stars in the Metro?
I've never seen anyone. I went in there every time I went to the mall. Never saw anyone purchase anything ever. They wouldn't let you touch anything. You just go in and you just look at the ninja swords and go, I want one of those.
I should say,
Did you buy
my
throwing
father
stars?
bought me some treasures from there. Pair of nunchucks.
Benoit balls?
But it wasn't like the good wood nunchucks. It was like
foamy shitty
the
ones?
foamy shitters with like the piece of rope in between.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have a pretty good collection of stars as a kid.
I spent a lot of time at both Crossroads, and then I mentioned the Shawnee Mall.
Shawnee Mall.
My friend's parents owned the dollar stores that were at both of those malls. Vietnamese family, like a lot of immigrant or like second generation families, like they'll have they'll kind of name their kids like they'll have like a actual indigenous name, like a Vietnamese name, and then they give them like an American name,
Like
they
Mark.
call him at school.
Yeah.
His name is Charlie,
Oh.
which was very rough for
Yeah.
someone of Vietnamese descent. So Charlie's parents owned these dollar stores, and so on the weekends when we were like just sketchy 14-year-old teenagers, like stay over at his house on Friday night just from school, just take the bus to his place, and then we would stay up all night watching dumb horror movies, and then in the morning we'd just like ride with his parents to whichever one of the malls, and then we'd just kind of like intermittently just work for money. They just pay us cash under the table, and we just kind of work the register or stock things or whatever, and then we'd have money to buy like Chinese food or Spawn toys or whatever.
Just walk around.
Yeah, and we just walk around, and so whenever I first hung out with him, he knew a lot of people at the Shawnee Mall, which that kind of opened up this world of just skaters and just skeezy punks from the backwoods and just a lot of weirdos. There was some cool people there, and then there was like a lot of people that maybe dead or in jail. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got high for the first time at the Shawnee Mall.
Inside or outside?
It was in the parking lot.
Okay.
So I think we're just like sitting in the food court, just enjoying the spoils of our like $5 an hour labor. And there's like this older greaser dude. He was like the old guy that hung out with all the kids. I mean, he was maybe like late 20s, but for like teenagers, that's an old guy to be like just hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he had like the, the white undershirt with the pack of Lucky Strikes flipped up in the sleeve. I think he
super cool guy.
Yeah, pretty cool. I think he just gotten out of like jail when we were hanging out with him. And so he's just like, "Hey, kids want to get high?" Just like, sure. And so I think Charlie said that he'd smoked once or twice before. He may have even just been lying. I don't know, but he was
gotta
like,
put on that bravado.
"Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah, I love weed. I smoke all the time.
Yeah, so he was just like, "Yeah, let's do it. Come on." And I'd never done. I mean, like I just started like smoking in the ditch back behind the mall, like smoking Marlboro Reds and Black and Milds with them, like pretty recently before that. But I was just kind of like young enough and just like new things. Like, sure, let's do this. Like, I don't know if this is something I really want to do, but
give it a whirl.
Like, yeah. And it was not even as much of like a peer pressure thing. I mean, I probably could have just walked away, but it was just like, let's just see what happens. So we go to just his like beat up old junker in the parking lot, not too far from the entrance. And so I'm in the back seat, and then him and my friend are in the front seat. He pulls out this just coffee can. Like they used to, I mean, I guess they don't really have the giant 10 coffee cans anymore, but just like the
Maxwell Hills
gallon, like Maxwell, just like metal coffee can. Pulls it out from underneath the passenger side seat, and it's just like full of reg, just dirt weed. And he opens it up, and he's got just some like pre-rolls in there. So he pulls a joint out, slides it back under, and then he's like, "All right, kids, just like kind of slide down." So we're like sliding down on our seats because a security truck keeps driving by. And we're just like hotboxing this joint, and smoke the whole thing in the Shawnee Mall parking lot. And then it's like, "So how you boys feeling?" And I think my friend was like, "Pretty good." And I was like, "I don't feel anything." He's like, "Wait till the air hits you." And then so we get out, open up the door. There's probably just smoke spilling out of this dude's just like old beater, and just like some cheesy movie, just my foot hits the pavement, is
whoa.
Yeah, I am just stoned, just instantly. Like he was right. As soon as the air hit me, just like, oh man, I'm fucked up. And so we go back inside, and like both of us are just like stoned as shit. And we don't want to walk by his parents' store because
last place you want to go.
Yeah, we don't want to see his parents. They're like super strict, and they would just, if they knew, they would yell at us. But either way, like we can't go back to work or do anything. And so, and like we're just paranoid. Like, oh, security knows. Let's hide out. So we go to the arcade. We're like, let's just go sit in the arcade. And we're like just sitting at one of the racing games, just watching it, and it's just so much stimulation. It's like, I can't fucking handle this.
Oh, noise. A lot of noise there, too.
Yeah. And I mean, it was just an entirely new sensation, too. We're just like, I just don't know what's happening. And like, I'm starting like, am I going to come down from this at all? Like, am I just fucked up for life? Am I going to be just crazy forever? And so Charlie's like, let's go see a movie. We'll go to the movie. I'll go to the movie theater and just watch something. And Shawnee Mall had the kind of a nice movie theater, like
decent
3-4 screens, something like that. Like it was just a nice little mall theater. And so we're looking like, okay, what's playing? And they're like, well, there's this new movie that looks good. It's like, let's go see this. Okay. So we buy our tickets for American History X.
Shit.
Great movie to see when you're a stoned teenager.
For the first time.
Yeah, for the first time. Didn't know. Like, okay, let's just go watch this movie. This will be good. And we're just going to like kind of sober up. And so it starts, it's like stark black and white, and it just like opens with this neo-Nazi crushing a kid's skull on the curb. And I was losing my fucking mind by this point. It was really dark. And luckily by the end of the movie, kind of head cleared up, and I'm just like, okay, kind of feeling normal again. And then after that was over, it was just the most horrible, intense experience of my life. I was like, well, never going to do that again. Flash forward, 3 months or whatever.
That's a crazy thing about, smoking pot when you were a kid.
Yeah.
You would hear like, hey, this is creeper. This is Mexican red hair.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's just pot. Like, no, hold on, man. It'll creep up on you. One of the very first times that I ever smoked pot, I was probably like 15, 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And, speaking of white trash character names, guy I knew, friend of a friend, Scooter.
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 That's a good name.
Yeah, great name for like a Muppet baby.
Yeah.
But he had some real creeper. And like, I didn't know what pot was. Like I was a good boy. I was a Christian boy. But it smelled like my dad. It's weird. But he rolled a joint, a real hog leg, as he called it. And we smoked pot in his mom's trailer. Like they lived in a trailer park. Like one of the only times I've ever actually been like in a trailer park.
Like in his room or just in?
Oh, in the living room. Yeah. Mom was at work at, the truck stop or whatever. And I smoked some pot and it crept up on me. I got so incredibly fucked up as a young boy that rode my bike to a friend's house. I thought we were going to play Rage Against the Machine and Doom or something. And we smoked some pot. And he's like, hey, you guys want to see something cool? And he put on a VHS copy of Showgirls. And I'm just like sitting on this like Beavis and Butthead couch watching Showgirls on this tiny television. And my mind was just blown over and over.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like back then, that felt like 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, whatever, like a movie comes and goes super quick or whatever. And
I don't know. Have you seen Showgirls lately?
No, but I would love to.
Feels like it's that long.
Really?
It's terrible.
When's the last time you saw Showgirls?
It's been a long time, but it is not a good movie.
I'm sure. But as a kid, it was like...
Well, yeah, it's tits.
Elizabeth Berkley titties.
Dude, and
it's Jesse Spano titties, dude.
Them Spanos, dude. Flopping around in a pool.
Oh, I remember that scene being like, what? When I saw that as a kid, it's like, okay, it's cool titties, but is that how sex is? Is that what it's like? Because that's insane to me.
That's violent.
Yeah.
Looks like it hurts.
Yeah.
And then after the movie, we got on our bicycles and like rode our bikes down to this river, and there were people fishing and swimming.
Oh boy.
Perhaps bathing.
Oh.
And it was just like this weird moment where, like you said, like I didn't know if I was ever going to be normal again.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I ever was,
No, like it sticks with you. That's the thing. And it's
still creeping on you, actually.
Yeah. That weed from 20 years ago is just sitting there. It's hanging out. Just in the spinal. It stays in your spinal column.
Yeah, I'm going to have to shave my head. I heard there's a drug test coming up.
And that was back in the day, too, when like all weed was dirt weed. And it's like people would try like, well, this is better stuff. And it's like, no, all of the weed that you could get, at least here, it was just like swag, stems and seed. Like the only difference.
Gray dust.
Yeah. It was just shaved off of a brick. Like the only difference is if it smelled like gasoline or not. Like, well, this came in a gas tank, or like, I guess they just put this in the trunk.
Or dude, like you would get the corner piece. Like,
oh, the corner piece.
Dude, total corner piece. I remember like seeing like it'd be molded, and it'd be hard and condensed. And the first time I ever saw like proper like marijuana that was like pretty, like, when you go to buy
KB.
like, yeah, dude,
I got that KB.
Yeah, I got some of that good is what this guy I knew used to call it. And it was like, wow, this isn't like particle board. This is actually like if you go to the farmer's market or, Crest or whatever and buy like a head of lettuce, it wasn't a smashed like corner piece. It was like a beautiful like pepper plant, or like a tomato it wasn't bruised.
You still got to pull seeds and stems out of it, but it's, it's whatever.
You do?
It's what it is.
Doesn't give you a headache when you smoke it.
That's true.
You don't have to meet a creepy guy in a mall parking lot. Man, I bought pot on America Online once.
What?
Yeah, I was probably like, gosh, I don't know, 17,
That's
18 years
sketchy.
old. Is the statute of limitations up by
7 years.
Is the statute of limitations up by then?
I would say 7 years.
Okay, whatever. I
Just don't give out your screen name.
I went to one of the members
Mhm.
AOL chat rooms. It was an Oklahoma chat room, and I was searching.
That could have been a cop so easy.
I know.
Budman 420.
Hashtag not a cop 420.
Not a cop 420 at AOL.com. No,
Well, I mean, if you ask them, they have to tell you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen the movie with Catherine Zeta-Jones. I know. It was this lady,
Mhm.
and we met at the Crossroads Mall, not the Regal, but the AMC.
Yes.
Is AMC right there?
Yeah.
The quote unquote new one.
Oh yeah.
They were still building it at the time.
Mhm.
Weren't even showing movies there yet.
The Regal was the new one. The AMC was the old one.
Okay, so
This
the
is
Regal.
yeah.
Yeah, the new one. And so we were chatting on AOL, and I was like, man, you better not be a cop, you know, and I show up in like my shitty like Dodge Daytona or whatever I was driving back then. And like, you know, this is before cell phones or anything. So we talked on AOL, and I make like the 30-minute drive from Choctaw to maybe buy some corner brick or whatever. And like, I see her, and she's like, oh yeah, I'll be in a maroon Chevy Blazer. And there she was. And I get out, and like she like waves me over, and I'm so scared. I'm like, this is the first time I ever bought pot in my whole life, off of a stranger off AOL.
Like, ooh, dude, I'd freak the fuck out.
It was more like, and I go and I get in her car, and she's like, "You want to smoke some?" And it was that moment, like where it was like, "Are you a cop?" I'm like, "No, I'm a pimply faced semi-goth in the Crossroads Mall parking lot," and I buy it. And I go home and like I covet this tiny little thing that I paid like $25 for or whatever. Like, this is gonna last me forever. I'm never gonna have to buy weed again. And yeah, that was the first time and the last time.
I kind of miss those days in a way. I mean, it was like shittier weed, but the like if it ever gets legal in Oklahoma, which I think is going to take a federal mandate, and even then our attorney general is going to just like sue the shit out of the country to make it not happen. But if it does, and we get to the point to where, you know, it's just like buying smokes or beer or whatever, like I'm totally cool with buying just the always save weed that like just, I mean, as long as like it doesn't give you like a headache or whatever, but just the dirt weed days, man, when you could just roll blunts. And like, I see the kids these days and they're smoking the blunts with like a $40 blunt. Fuck that, dude. Used to buy an ounce for $60, $50. And like you and your friends would smoke just for like a week and just constantly just joint after joint and just get stupid.
Oh yeah.
It's like these days with their kids and their dabs and their edibles.
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, that shit's fun. But
no, it's not fun. That shit is not fun. I don't know who's telling people that that's fun. Freaking the fuck out is not fun. Just give me some dirt weed.
yeah, I mean, I'm a lightweight. I'm cool with people doing that stuff. I've made my own edibles and I make them like very lightweight, and that's kind of fun. But I mean, just like I could get a gram and it'll last me for like 3 months. Like I'm just don't need that much.
Yeah.
The days of Jaeger and corner weed, way behind us at this point.
Yeah. It's a new world we're living in, guys. You know,
It's a brave new world.
one would say. All decides.
A vape new world.
Oh fuck. That is a name for a vape place.
Well, that's what I'm going for Halloween.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
A vape shop owner?
No, just a vape. Erica and I, we were driving to the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Suicide Squad, and there was a guy dressed up as a vape, and he was like one of those like sign spinning guys. And I was like, man, what a great Halloween costume.
Just a vape.
Like, you're a piece of dry ice away from having like the ultimate costume. Wonderful.
Awesome. Bring that full circle back to Halloween.
I think that's where we'll end it. Lucas, thank you so much for coming on, man.
I had fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Again, the numbdiaries.wordpress.com.
.wordpress. Shout out to WordPress.
Keeping it real after all these years.
Check me out on the Lost Ogle also. I write a couple stories a week for them. Shout out to Ogletoberfest. Anthem Brewing.
Edible OKC.
Edible OKC. Bi-monthly. We got a new beer issue out right now. So if you like Anthem, I've actually got a story about Anthem Brewing in this issue. So
Bam.
Damn.
double shout out to Anthem.
Double shout
Yeah,
out.
bringing it all together. I've actually got like 5 copies bagged and boarded at my house. So if anybody needs one, hit us up, boyspodcast@aol.com.
boyspodcast.com. You can donate, review on iTunes, that kind of stuff, all that shit.
All of it. Just show us some love, all right?
Yeah.
Bye.